Disney Planes and Fire Rescue, Dusty to the Rescue. This book was purchased at a local grocery store. Dusty to the Rescue by Christopher Meyer. Illustrated by the Disney Storybook Art Team. Dusty Cropper was a worldwide racing star. The little orange plane had become the hero of fans around the globe by winning race after race. Racing was all Dusty wanted to do. It was his life. During a practice flight one day, Dusty's engine was damaged. Dottie the mechanic Tug told Dusty that if he flew too fast, his engine would fail and he would crash. Dusty couldn't race again until his engine was fixed. Dottie gave Dusty a red warning light that would tell him when to slow down. "I'm so sorry," she said. She didn't like to see her friend sad. While his friend searched far and wide for the right parts to fix his engine, Dusty learned that Popwash Junction needed a new firefighter. He wanted to help, so he flew to Piston Peak National Park, where he could train to become a certified firefighter. When a fire broke out in the forest, Dusty watched the heroic Piston Peak Air Attack Team fly into action. The team was led by a brave rescue copter named Blade. Dusty realized that learning to be a firefighter was not going to be easy. Maru, the team's mechanic, removed Dusty's landing gear and replaced it with big pontoons that could carry water. Blade tried to teach Dusty how to scoop water out of the river, but Dusty almost crashed. Dusty studied hard. There was a lot to learn about putting out fires. Finally, Dusty had a chance to show what he could do. He sped through the obstacle course at Argyrin Canyon, but when his warning light flashed, he had to slow down. "Why did you pull power?" Blade asked. Dusty was too embarrassed to tell Blade the truth. The next day, Dusty learned how to drop the fire retardant to put out fires. It was hard for him to aim just right, but soon enough he was able to put one out. Bullseye. Unfortunately, it was a family's campfire. "You just saved those folks from a nice vacation," said Blade. Later, Dusty's radio crackled to life. His friends from Popwash Junction were calling. They had bad news. "We've called every parts supplier, repair shop, and junkyard in the country," they explained sadly. But nobody had the parts Dottie needed to fix Dusty's engine. Suddenly, an alarm rang. A lightning storm had started several fires. Blade told Dusty what to do, but he wasn't paying attention. Dusty dumped all the fire retardant on the first fire. He didn't save any for the next one. Blade wasn't happy. "You need to listen to me," he yelled. Dusty tried to fix his mistake by scooping water out of the river, but a strong crosswind made him lose control, and he skittered across the choppy waves. The raging river dragged Dusty toward a waterfall. "Push your engine," Blade told him. "Redline it." But Dusty didn't want to risk ruining his engine for good. At the last second, Blade hooked Dusty and pulled him to safety. Dusty was out of the river, but he couldn't fly, and the fire was closing in. Blade led the way to an old mine shaft where they waited for the fire to pass. There, Dusty finally admitted to Blade that his engine was damaged and he would never race again. And that maybe he couldn't be a firefighter either. "If you give up today, think of all the lives you won't save tomorrow," said Blade. Dusty realized that racing wasn't everything. Meanwhile, the fire was threatening the nearby fuselage. The guests had been evacuated, but the road was blocked. They needed help. The firefighters hurried to rescue the guests. It was dangerous to fly after dark, but they had no choice. Dusty and the air attack team went into action and put out the flames. The guests cheered, but there were still 2 RVs stuck on a burning bridge. Blade flew in to help, but he couldn't save them on his own. Dusty swooped down, dodging falling rocks and burning trees. In a daring move, he flew straight up the waterfall to refill his water pontoons. His red warning light started to flash, but he ignored it. Dusty dropped his water on the bridge, putting out the fire and saving the RVs. "Good move, partner," Blade said to Dusty, but then, pop, bang, Dusty's engine failed and he plummeted into the trees. Everything went black. Dusty woke up a few days later at Piston Peak Air Attack Base. Morrow had patched Dusty back together and given the plane a new engine that he'd made from spare parts. "You're fixed," Murray told him. "Hardest thing I've ever done." Dusty was grateful for Morrow's help. And that wasn't all. Dusty had proven what it took to be a real firefighter. "You earned that certification," Blade said proudly. Dusty was ready to be a hero, as a racer and a life-saving firefighter, too. The end. Dusty to the rescue.